The handguns that you choose to everyday carry, of course, are a personal situation, but we can sometimes gain some insight into the choices that other people make. So today, want to talk a little bit about the evolution of my EDC rotation. I've been carrying for a long time, so this is going to include 11 different handguns. We're going to kind of talk about each one of them coming up. So let's go. What's up, crew? It's Chris with CloverTac. Welcome back to the channel. And before we get too deep in the weeds, I want to caveat this by saying we're talking about regular additions here to my EDC rotation over the years, not special circumstance, I would say, type things. If we were talking about that, barbecue guns and different things like that, well, I could include things like my Smith & Wesson Model 65, maybe my Taurus 1911, or for hiking and outdoors, even the Glock 20. So we're going to focus on regularly carried EDC handguns. And everything starts off here with a little Colt Detective Special snub nose revolver in 38 Special. This particular one belonged to my grandfather, subsequently no longer in my EDC rotation, but is still a phenomenal choice, I think, in today's world for an EDC option. Went from that Colt Detective Special in 38 Special to a Burst of Thunder 45 in 45 ACP. And don't get me wrong, all metal handgun in 45 ACP. It handles that cartridge well, it shoots well, it runs fine, it always has. Yeah, I think I just kind of outgrew the idea of needing 45 ACP. But before I outgrew that idea, I, of course, had to upgrade, and being a fan of the design anyway of a 1911 and also the trigger on most 1911s, I sort of upgraded in that 45 ACP caliber from the Thunder 45 from Beretta into a Para-Ordnance Warthog. This little thing, 11+1 double stack, very tiny little 1911, compact 1911 design. Looks good, feels good, shoots good. Now, having those 45 ACP handguns, I thought, it'd be nice to have some type of a little pocket handgun. And at that point, I moved into a little North American Arms 22 Magnum. This is a little single action revolver, and great for carrying in the pocket of a jacket. I did not like and did not really carry this in the pocket of my pants. I don't like carrying things in the pocket of my pants. This thing has a lot of sharp corners and things that can snag, but in a jacket pocket, it works out fine. And then the progression or the evolution of EDC, I knew I needed to replace that revolver. That was my grandfather's. Didn't want to risk it being confiscated or losing it or getting stolen or whatever. And so I moved into this little Model 36 Smith & Wesson in 38 Special. And I never have really been a huge fan of this little revolver, although it did stay in my everyday carry rotation and subsequently my wife's everyday carry rotation for some time. One good thing about talking about so many firearms here is that it gets maybe new firearm owners, new people that want to carry. It gives them some things to think about. And so let's give them some extra things to think about. What I want you to do is to jump down in the comments below and rattle off some different things that are currently or have been in your everyday carry rotation. So at this point in my evolution, after adding that little 22 Magnum revolver, I started to subscribe to the concept that I was okay with a handgun and a caliber so long as I was comfortable, competent, and confident with that handgun and that caliber. So sticking with the 1911-ish design, I moved into a little Colt Mustang. 380 for me, does get it done. This one actually did not stay in my rotation super long. And the reason for that was shortly after I had picked that up, Ruger came out with the little LCP in 380, and this one stayed in my everyday carry rotation for a very long time, and also subsequently became a part of my wife's everyday carry rotation as well. But then wouldn't you know it, out of the blue, Glock comes out with a 380 in the Glock 42. And I picked this up when the Glock 42 first came out. Had I not done that, I may have went with a Glock 43. But again, comfortable, competent, confident. And I'm all of those things with this Glock 42. They're just familiar. And this one is a lot of fun to shoot, which helps because the more you get out on the range and the more you practice, the more competent and confident and comfortable you're going to become. And so I spent a lot of time on this little platform for sure, run a lot of rounds through this thing on a regular basis, and it currently is my primary everyday carry handgun. Now, after the Ruger LCP and the Glock 42, I started becoming a little more comfortable with the idea of polymers. That's when I came across the Taurus Protector Poly, which is a polymer framed 38 special revolver. And this thing, like that Glock 42, is a ton of fun to shoot. It handles the 38 special cartridge really, really well, and it fits the bill. This is the revolver that is still in my current EDC rotation. But the nostalgia, the love for, metal frame handguns, it finally come back around to that. And I had a chance to pick up a little Beretta Cheetah, a Beretta 84F in 380 ACP. Always been a fan of the looks, the aesthetics, the styling of the Beretta 92s and the Beretta Cheetahs and those sorts of things. And so I was able to pick this one up. And being comfortable, competent, all that good stuff with 380 ACP, decided to put this one just kind of as a throwback into my EDC rotation as well. This has been in my rotation for some time now. It currently still is, but it is secondary to that Glock 42. Now, this next one is one that honestly surprised me, and it's the Trailblazer Life Card single shot 22 long rifle. I love the craftsmanship, the workmanship of this, the innovation. It's just a cool little handgun, but I never really give it much thought as far as a defensive firearm, even though I do subscribe to the idea that something is better than nothing. And so one day I was doing some videos and some other things with that life card. I ended up putting it in my pocket. And as I said earlier, not a fan of carrying things around in my pocket, but I slid this thing in my pocket and it stayed there all day, and I forgot it was in there and didn't even realize it was in there until later on that evening. So the Trailblazer Life Card has since replaced my little North American Arms 22 Magnum as the throw around, throw it in your pocket type handgun that I carry for EDC purposes, of course. Now, I've talked about quite a few different 38 special revolvers today. So if you're curious about 38 special, you want to check out some other stuff on them, well, I'll have you some videos up right here. As for this one, we're done. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And until next time, don't forget to chain fire freedom.